application or credit. So at this time, I'd like to introduce Dr. Kola Ogunlana. He is a native of Nigeria, and he moved to Maryland with his family after graduating high school. He has a 6-year-old son now and a 3-year-old daughter, so he's very, very busy. He resides in Lothian, and in 2017, he created and released his first mobile application called Just in Time, which allows users to schedule appointments for various services. And he released his second mobile app called Tap My Wellness in December of 2019. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Dr. Professor Kola, and I will allow him to share some more information, some more interesting information about himself.
Thank you, Barbara. And so I'm just going to share my screen a little bit while we're going through this. So just like, I'm just going to close my screen. Yeah, so it's just like Barbara mentioned, the mobile app class that I teach is INT 2050. We also have it also, as Barbara mentioned, for the continuing education students. And so again, that class gives you that introductory experience in building mobile applications. And then one thing, just as Barbara has mentioned, I've been creating mobile apps, releasing them to the Play Store and the App Store. I've been getting a lot of feedback from users of the mobile app. And so it's so exciting when you get that feedback, when someone puts a feedback on the Play Store or the App Store saying how they enjoyed using your app. That kind of fuels you and just gives you that that encouragement. And so a lot of the students I have, they come in with a lot of ideas of apps they want to create. And then they, at the end of the semester, they are so excited with what they produce. So I'm really excited to take you through this, just giving you a slice of that experience in how to create a mobile app. And so this is, I just wanted to show, before we jump into that, I'm just going to show a little bit of some of the mobile apps that Barbara mentioned. So this was my first one. Move this to this. This was my first app, Just in Time app, available on the Play Store. One of the things I really enjoyed was getting this logo for my app. Yeah, just showing kind of like this experience of this search agent going out there and getting something for you, the information that you want. So this was my first foray into that, getting into mobile apps. I created this in the Android Play Store, the Google Play Store. And basically it was there, I just got my feet wet in creating mobile apps and then getting feedback from users. So this was that was my first foray into creating mobile apps. The second one there, and just as Barbara mentioned again, was the Tap My Wellness, which the new version of it is now called CPD. And so this year is for, in terms of helping users with their mental wellness, in terms of giving you words of encouragement, giving you visual imagery to kind of encourage you when you just to give you that feedback in creating. Let's say you're going through your day and you need some encouragement for the day. This was why I created this app with my spouse. And so this app here is available, in this case, is available on the App Store and is available on the Play Store. So I have the same app available on both places. And this app is there, is free. Anyone can download it. I definitely encourage you after this session to download it. Again, while I'm here, I'm just going to post it in the chat so that everyone can go out there, get a chance to play with it. I'm going to post it there for everyone. And so I'll post it right here. So this is that's the App Store version. That's if you have an iPhone. And then this is if you have an Android phone. So I just placed that. So definitely after this session, feel free to go in there, download it, it's free. You can play around with it and give me some feedback, see how you like it. So So these are just the two apps I wanted to just show you in terms of my background and apps I've created all the way from scratch, from the beginning all the way to the end, putting it on the App Store, the Play Store. So Jita is my first one. And then the one after that was the Tap My Wellness, and now it's been called Cosipity. So those two are right there in the App Store and the Play Store. So just checking, I want this session to be interactive. Anyone have any questions? I don't want to talk through the whole 60 minutes. Definitely, if you have any questions, bring it up. I really like to make my class interactive when I'm teaching it. And so, yeah, I want you to go, I want to show you first, if this is your first time in getting into apps, let me show you what you would, usually what I do with my students, show them what they need. What we usually do in our case is we use this app called, or this application called Android Studio. So yes, this application that allows us to create apps. And I'm going to walk you through this new app. One of the apps I've used is sort of like a game app. And for Android Studio, anyone that wanted to get it is actually free. You can actually, I'm just going to go to online right there. And if you just type Android Studio, you actually download it. It's free. You can download it. This is what I give my students to try out. So this is install Android Studio. Is right here. And you have that link right there to download the latest version right here, which you have there. So for Windows, for Mac, you have that link here to download it. So I also post this in the chat. So again, I want to give you these free resources that you can use after this session to get into that foray of creating mobile apps. So that's what you need. You just need this Android Studio. Is available there on the right here for Windows. If you have a Windows computer and you see a video how to actually install it, and for Mac, and you also see a video about to install it. I also have a Linux version of it. So I'm curious, everyone that is on the room, I'm curious, can you just type in your favorite apps, like either on the App Store or on the Play Store? Just type in your favorite apps. So everyone, I just want to get some feedback. Just what kind of apps do you have on your phone right now? What's your latest app, or the app that you really love or you have been using so lately? So I'm just curious to everyone. So I see Jada mentioned YouTube. I see Tiffany said TikTok, Twitter, Microsoft To Do. I see that YouTube there. I see that WhatsApp. Yeah, I see. So those are definitely apps. Everyone Google Podcast Nextdoor. Yeah, definitely for security. Game apps. Yeah, definitely. I see Gary, I see Casey, Lingo. Yeah, I see that. So those are really great apps. So I see a lot of you have, again, those apps that we all use together. So I definitely see that. So all those apps that you mentioned, you can all use this tool, the tool that we're looking at today, and I'm going to look at the Android Studio to create it. So this is one of those apps. I'm going to move this down so you can see. So this is Android Studio right there. So when you go to that link I posted in the chat, you will see that in the Canvas. I see Canvas there also. So that's really interesting. So when you go to Android, click on that link that I put there to install Android Studio, I posted it in the chat, you will see there that you'll be able to, it installs this automatically for you. So you can always see that. So I see, I don't mention Candy Crush, definitely. So what you're going to see is that that's a really great app. So this is, I don't want this to scare you, but this is what they call an IDE that you can use. Some of you might have taken programming classes that you can use to create your app. So you have a bunch of windows I'm going to walk you through so you can see how it is. I see the ones mentioned Adobe. Definitely, I see that all those apps are really good apps. And so what you will see there is that for either using Android Studio, the first thing you see is the concept of when to do this. I created, in this case, when you first do it, you go to, probably this is the first step. Usually you just a file and then you do new project. And so for Android Studio, we have the concept of activity. Activity is a screen that allows you to create various parts of your application. So for example, if you wanted to create like a map application, here's an activity, just click on that. it will allow you to create a Google Map page on your app. Or for example, if you wanted to, you can see some of them, wanted to have like a login, you have your users log into your app, you have that activity right there. So you can see that some of that. If you wanted to put some advertisements on your app, you have some Google ad mob advertisements. So it just basically gives like a starting point that you can use to create your app. Or even if you wanted to start from scratch and not do anything, you can have something like a basic activity or an empty activity you wanted to start from scratch. And as you can see, one of the things you're going to see is that you can create again app for various things. And so, but I see Barbara there also got the chance to download Cosebite again, very really common. Again, just encourage everyone to check it out. And so what you see there is you see the different templates of activities you can use. So for example, if you want to create an app for a phone or tablet, you just go through that. For example, you want to create an app for maybe your Apple Watch or your Android watch, in this case, you would go right here and click on that. And then you see what activities you can do right there. Okay, you can see right there for that. And remember, you're not restricted to only that. You can also create apps for actually if you have like a Samsung TV, for example, that has the Android and running in it, you can create an app for a TV. So just think about the apps that you have on your smart TV. Those are what you can create them using this tool, also Android Studio, and you can also create them for your Android TV. So you see some of that in there. And then lastly, one of the things you might be amazed of course, is that remember, our cars are also now smart cars. So again, you can create app for your smart car. So if your car has maybe Google Play, for example, you can create app for your car. And so yeah, again, this is also the way that you can do that. You also have that option. So you have templates that you can use. So you can see how robust it is for your phone, for your watch, for your Android TV, for your car. You can create various apps for it. So it's really amazing what power that you can have in it. Let me just pause for a minute just to see if anyone had any questions. I just don't want to keep talking. I want to make sure that I see.
You can post them in the chat, or I think you may be able to raise your hand. So if you have any questions, please ask.
Yes, thank you, Barbara. And so what you're going to see, I'm not going to walk you through this new app. Before I do that, let me just show you what the app does. So so it's a gaming app. I'm going to run it.
So when they take your INT 2050 class, is this some of the things that students will learn how to do?
Yes. This is exactly some of the things we're going to, you'll see exactly what we see right there today. This is some of the things you'll learn how to do. We'll start from scratch, giving you that introduction into Android Studio, and then we're going to advanced features like creating apps, creating gaming apps, various gaming apps. So you'll see a couple of them in here. And so and Barbara, you're definitely right about it. You're going to see a lot of things like this in our mobile app class. We'll create apps for games. We'll create apps that allow you to access calendars, build APIs, databases. So various, and we'll take you from different experience level, even if you have never created apps or you have created apps, there's something for every student in there. And really what we do is that we work it like a project-based class, where from the first day of the class to the last day of the class, we're working on one project all throughout, so that at the end of the class, you would actually have created your own app that you can take to the Play Store, the App Store, and then move forward with it. So a lot of my students email me after the class, maybe a couple of weeks or months after the class, just to tell me updates of how they had worked on the app after the class had ended, and how exciting they wanted and what they had learned through that class. So I keep getting feedback from students after taking the class on what they'll be able to do with the app after they have finished the class. So it's really exciting.
Great. So we do have a couple of questions. So somebody asked, is the app for Android or just Apple?
So this one that we're looking at on Android Studio, this is for the Android. So we're using Android Studio here, so it's for the Android. But it's not difficult to take this app and rewrite it for the Apple. So the code base is pretty easy. So it's not too difficult. As you can see, right there, there's actually, if you click on this link, it will take you to the code base, and the same code base I got. And it's pretty easy to take it step by step, reuse some of what we have in here and put it in the app, in the Apple iPhone. So you can always rewrite it.
Okay. And there's one more question. Does this program also allow ports to make iPhone apps?
Yes, so this program is, you can take what we have right here and you can sort of wrap it and into an iPhone app. So it will just mean that you just have to make some tweaks, meaning that you would have to take a similar IDE for again for Apple, and then make some tweaks into it, and then take some of the code right there and move it to that other side. So you can definitely port it using the language that you make sure you use there to create an Apple app. So you can definitely do that. It might just take you some time converting the code that they have right there into the iPhone. There are also other apps that you can create. They call them hybrid apps. So those are apps that you use one code base and it works for Android and Apple. And one of the examples I'll show you is, I'll just show you an example of that. So there are a couple of them out there. So there's Flutter is one of that. They can build apps for any screen. So this is one of those ones that you can, and I put it in the chat, that allows you to do for both the iPhone and the Apple. And one of our professors, I think, is in here, Professor Joy. He definitely has a lot of resource on that. And then we also have the Ionic is also another one. That's also another, they call it the cross-platform app development. So allows you to do both the iPhone and the Android at the same time using one code base. So I also post that in the chat too. So these are there are a lot of them out there. Flutter, Ionic, definitely a lot of them out there that allow you to use one code base, and then you can do both. Yes, and so that's a good question. Is it free to create apps? In this case, for Android Studio, and even for Apple, it's actually free to create it. This tool that you see right here, I put it in the chat up here. You can download Android Studio right there. It's just right there. I put the link right there up in the chat. So you can see right there, if you scroll up, you see the link right there. You can download this tool for free. And then all you just have to do is, when you have created your app, just like the app I'm showing you right there, all you just need to do is to go to the Play Store and then upload it in there. And usually you just have like a small nominal fee as a developer. So as a developer account, and then you'll be able to do that. So a lot of that it's actually free to develop it. And you might just have a small fee. Yeah, you might have to pay to Google or Apple to have a developer account to do that. So those are really all good questions. And so everyone, if you look at this is the app right there. I'm going to make sure right there, I'll click on you can see the simple app. This is what they call a splash screen. And then you click, just has a couple of buttons right there, start, about. So I just click on the start game right there. And yeah, just a simple game. It's just a character moving in. I'm just going to try to catch it, try to click on it. So anytime you click on it, you get a point. So it moves pretty fast. So I'm going to try to see if I can get, so I get the point right there. And then it has a little sound when you get the point there. And at the end of the time, it gives you, hey, your score was this, how many times you're able to click on it. And says, do you want to play it again? So a couple of my students in the class, when we have played it so many times. I think the highest score we had in our class a couple of times was like a student clicked it maybe like 20 times. That was the highest score that we got it. And so you just keep trying to click it. The character keeps moving, and then try to click it, try to get some points as it moves. And then the time is changing as it's moving there, and it gives you feedback when you click on something. And so it's just a simple app right there. And again, I just want to show you again, how does this all work? How do you go from this to this? It's pretty easy, as you can see right there. I'm just going to walk you through it right there. In the case right here, you're going to see that, I'm just going to pull it up right here just to show you. What you're going to see is that you have basically two folders right here. So the app folder right here, when you open up your app, So how do I open it up? I just go to File, Open in my case. And then I have a folder on my computer I've downloaded that has all the code base that you see right in there. And so once I click on that folder, the name of the app right there, and click OK, that opens up what you see right there. So that's what opens up what you see right there. And what you're going to see in there is that we have two folders. So here's the main folder. The main folder here is the app folder. And here you're going to see a couple of subfolders in there. And the main thing is the screen. What you see there, the activities that I just showed you in the beginning, is in this folder called RES. And then there's a layout folder right here. And here's the activity. So if you remember at the beginning of this session, I said all the pages on your app, they are basically called activities. So that's where all of that is stored. So when I click on the about screen, you can see the about screen. That's what you see right there. That shows right there. I remember the about screen again is just, I'm going to go back to my app so you can see it. It's just right there. That's this screen. So everyone look at it. That's this screen right there. It's just the same screen that you see right there. That's just the page that does it. That's exactly this screen right here. And this is the code base that allows you to do it. I'm going to move this to the side so you can see it. I'm going to go back right there. So this is the code base. The code base is right here. I'll move this to the side. And the code base is right here. So you can see I'm in the design view. So this allows you to see how it looks like, how it's going to look like on your app. But I can also see the code view right here. So this might be just a little bit difficult to read, but in the case of, this is actually the code base, and it's called XML right here. And this is what allows us to create what you see here in the design view right here. And so in the design view, it's pretty drag and drop. So you can see what you have is your palette right here. You basically have your control. So if I want a button, here's a button right here. I can just drag it. Look at it. I can just drag it and drag it right there. So it's a drag and drop environment. So if I want a button, I just go to my palette right here, click on a button and just drag it to the screen. If I want a scroll, if I want to put some text, I can put some. If I want a password screen, I can just click on it and just drag it right where I want to put it. So there are all these controls right here. Look at them on this there. They're all palettes. So if I want some advertisement on my app, look at it right here. Add. I just take it out and drag that where I want to put it. So it's just a drag and drop environment. So whatever you want, you can just get it and just drag it there. And immediately, once you drag it to the screen and drop it, immediately the code is written for you. So if you go back to your code base right here, you're going to see the code right there of what you just dragged. So you can see, here's my button code right here. And here's another button code right here. So again, if I can put a split screen, make it easier so you can see both. So here's my button and here's my button code right there, the same code right there. So I can sort of highlight it right here. So here's me highlighting. I can see that's what is highlighted right here. And so that's the button there on that screen. And you can see a couple of them here. If I want an image, the image, and I highlight it right here. So that's my image right there. That's the image of this. So you can see anytime I highlight the code right here, it shows you what that code is right there. So you see you have this split view where you can see both of them at the same time. So I highlight the code right here, it shows me right there. This is where the code is. So you can see kind of like how easy and intuitive it is. It's not meant to be very difficult. Whatever you do, you can see it shows you, hey, this is where that code base is. And you can see the same code that was written there. This game was made by, that's the same code, that's the same text you see right there. And so that's also the same text you also see when you pull up your app. When I pull up that app there, you see that's the same code right there that you see right there. So if I pull it up right there, I pull up my app right there so you can see it again. It's the same code right there. I'm going to pull it up so I can get it. So that's that same code right there. So the about, when you click on the about, same code right there that shows it. You can say this game was made by Warfare. So that's what happens when I do that. So that's that same code, that same code right there. So you see that. So it's kind of easy. You just kind of drag and drop what you want on the screen. And then once you do that, each one of this code right here, for example, when you click on a button, there are the files that actually take the action. So you can see, I'm going to go to another subfolder here that says Java, for example. And Java is a programming language that some of you might have taken. So again, whatever, when I click on a button right here on my screen, to do that action, you have another file right here that has almost the same name as the activity. So you can see about screen, you can see about activity about screen XML. You can see main activity, you see an activity main. So you can kind of see these are all the Java files that do the action. So based on the action that you do right here, you see a Java file that does the same action. So a good question, do I get paid when people download my app? So that's a good question. So it is based on the way you create your app. So let me show you, this is one of my app, the app I told you, Possibility. And so what you see is that in most apps, you have this part that is free when you download it. But what you can do is you can put what they call in-app purchases. So that means these are extra features that if you wanted to use more features in the app that could do more things, then you could put those what they call in-app purchases. So for example, let's say you had a gaming app, and then as a user of that gaming app, you only have certain level of powers. And let's say you wanted to unlock more features in the app. Let's say you wanted to have more powers. For example, maybe you have a car racing app and you want to have the ability to choose maybe different colors for your car, or you wanted to have your car to be able to, maybe instead of choosing a sports car, you wanted an SUV, and you only wanted to give you the ability to do that, you might want to put something what's called an in-app purchase, where they might have to pay for those extra features. And so that's how you can kind of get paid for those apps. So those are ways that you can do that. So using those in-app purchases. And so that's how you can kind of get paid. Or you can also put some advertisements on your app so that when they click on it, then you get paid. That you can also do that. So these are some of the ways that you can get paid for your app. I see another question about copyright. So yeah, it is definitely it's definitely recommended that you put the copyright language for your app. So you can see right there, I put my copyright language there for just saying that everything that you see on this app is owned by my group here that does it. So I kind of put that copyright in there. So you can also do that. So when you're creating your app and submitting it to the App Store, the Play Store, they definitely recommend you that you add that text in there so that you can add the text for copyright. You can add the text for, again, what kind of iPhone you support here, where the languages of your app, the category, the age rating, again, what services, does it work on the Mac, iPod? So again, it's recommended that you do that in there and be able to do that. And you can also see some ratings that you also get on the app also from users. And also, you can also put your privacy link. You can also put that in there, also how to do that. So you can also put that in there. So again, all of that is, you do that when you're submitting your app into the App Store, the Play Store, and then they review it, give you some feedback, and if everything is okay, they then give you the approval to move forward to make your app visible on the App and Play Store. So those are good questions, Leslie, and I also see here too. So those are really good questions.
Does anybody have an interest, like they're working on something they wanted, some kind of app, or that they're currently working on, or they just have a lot of ideas? You can either raise your hand, you can put it in the chat.
Yeah, and that's so interesting. A lot of apps, a lot of my students have given so many ideas of various apps, very interesting apps I see there. So I see Nisha said, I am developing a game. So what kind of game? Is it a car racing game? Is it what kind of game are you developing? So a 2D platforming game. Okay, that's really interesting. And so what I usually recommend there is that anytime I'm trying to do a game or something like that, I try to see what is out there. So for example, when you say 2D platforming, what I usually do is that I might just go to 2D games, unless I'm doing maybe Android, maybe if I was in Android. to the Android game. So usually I do that. I go online and I try to see what is out there. So you can see the best 2D platformers for Android 2022. So what I do is I go online, I try to see what others have done, to try to see how mine will be different. So I try to do that to get some ideas. So you can see right there, you'll be able to see some of those ideas out there of some of them. Some of them might have some videos you can see. You can see another one, level edit. That's another one right there. So you see a lot of ideas out there, Super Mario one. So just to give you an idea of what is out there, you can see another one right there, Gun Break. So you just see a lot of ideas out there of what others have been doing, and just to kind of give you some inspiration of what is out there, and you can get some feedback. Other things you can do is that you can actually go online and then you can actually get, they call that starter apps. Starter. So these are basically where you can go online and try to see if you can download maybe the code base if it's available, so you don't have to start from scratch. So you can see what the thing you're going to say. You can look at the tutorial for beginners, how to develop 2D Android games, and they're in just 5 minutes. So again, they will show you in terms of going through it and kind of giving you ideas of how to do your background, for example. So they'll give you different examples out there of how to create the kind of app, so you don't have to start from scratch. So you kind of see a lot of ideas out there. So what I try to do is try to get those feedback. So I see Leslie also say, are there other sites to look at that are not game related? Yeah, definitely. So again, if you're not trying to do game related, what I usually do is I just remove the starter and I just put maybe.
How did you come up with the idea of QCPD? Because I'm like in my office crying as I'm reading through all of these great inspirational. I'm thinking of my associate dean, Dr. Bentley, and a lot of these things that it sounds like things she would say. So what made you even come up with this type of site?
Yeah, so what made me come up with it was that my wife is actually a therapist. So she's a licensed therapist in mental health. And so during COVID, we had been seeing a lot of what students actually at PGCC from my class and from my wife's class, the kind of feedback we're getting from our students in terms of being stressed during COVID, in terms of trying to balance their family and work and school and everything with COVID during that COVID time. And so based on the feedback we're getting from our students, we decided to create this app to be available for our students, to available to the public, to help them during that trying time. So the inspiration for that app was actually COVID. COVID was what pushed us to create this app based on those feedback, because we're getting a lot of feedback from students saying how it was so difficult for them during that time and for everyone. And so trying to lessen that load for those students, trying to lessen load for anyone that would be interested, and just give me that extra encouragement to keep going on with your classes, keep going on with your work and your family, balancing all of that. That was the inspiration. COVID actually pushed that out of us to actually create this app to be able to help everyone. So that was the inspiration for that app.
Thank you so much. My daughter is a therapist as well. I just sent her the app and told her she needs to share this, especially with her clients and her patients and her staff, because it's really, really cool. But just how one little idea, from anybody, student, anyone can create an app. It's really pretty inspiring. Amazing.
Yes, thank you, Barbara. And I see that question from Leslie. Are there other sites to look at that are not game related? Definitely. And what I do is that if you're trying to get inspiration, just take Android starter app, for example, or Android apps. And so you're going to see a bunch of them. Again, of course, there's the Android app on Google Play, which you can also go. But then you're going to see a lot of them right there. Again, you just see a lot of them, best app for 2023. They kind of give you for Android. You can also get the same for the iPhone too. So also the same thing for the iPhone. You'll see a lot of them, DuckDuckGo, Fire. So they give you a lot of ideas for those apps that are out there Facebook Messenger. You also see the same thing if I go to the iPhone again, just say iPhone again. The best Apple apps out there again. Again, you see the rankings there. Again, just apps that are out there, and you see again, you see them based on rate. So you see a lot of those apps out there based on what you're interested in. Again, if you're interested in creating your own app, so you see a lot of the communication apps right there. A lot of you have also mentioned WhatsApp also. So a lot of those apps again, and you show you the screens of how it looks. Telegram. So many of them are out there. But also what I do is that I always go to, if I'm trying to think of ideas for apps, I usually just go with just starter apps. Let's say either for Android or Apple. So usually if I'm doing Android starter apps, and you kind of see a lot of what a lot of other users are doing. So what are the best Android apps to build for first timers? So you see that some of them also actually have where you can actually download the code, so you don't have to start from scratch. So you can see some of them, you can see some of those, they give actually the same code. So you can see Android Trigger starter app and give you the code base so that you don't have to start from scratch. And so you can see there's just so much out there that you don't actually have to start from scratch. You can always see what is out there, download it, and use that as your base to create your own app. So you can see some of that, a lot of that is in there. And that was what was the inspiration for what I was showing you today in terms of if I go back to our Android app right there. Like this app that I have right there, you can go in there and make any change to it. Like right here, you can change the background, give it a different name, add some different things in there, and then call it your own app. You can change the name and then work with it. So you can see this is the background code base. Again, this is, some of you might know Java. This is what exactly just runs the code at the back. So for a screen like this, right here, when you take an action, when you click on the button or something, the action goes back to this code base right there. And basically, they're just functions that actually do something. So for example, this is the one that would open up when you click on the screen right here, and there's a GitHub link button. And just this opens up the site GitHub. And again, basically all it's just doing is just going there and opening up that page. And so all that is just doing, just going there, find that website, and then open it up. And so again, you see again, if I go to this, the activity main, this is the screen that shows you is it moving from one page to another. And so you will see some of the things in there again. You see some of those buttons in there again. You can see this app is pretty easy. It's basically what you have is you have this one image in each of these parts of the screen right here. And basically what we are doing is that we make one of them visible, and then we make all the rest not visible. Then when we wanted to move to the next one, we make this visible, then make all the rest not visible. So it's basically simple. So you might think that we're actually doing something, but it's as easy as that, as basically you're just turning on and off a picture that you have multiple of them on the screen. And so when I play the game, I'm going to show the game again, so that you can actually see what we're actually doing. When I click on start game, all it's doing is that it's just moving. It's just moving it, and you think that it's moving, but it's actually just multiple images, and we're just making one visible and then all the rest not visible. So that's basically, and it's kind of interesting that it's as easy as that. And I see a question here, what about creating a prefer and spawn manager? So that is really interesting. So when I'm thinking of this, looking at this, or probably would be in terms of, let's say you are using things like threads. And so in this case, where you have various threads, so threads are basically different processes that are running at the same time. And what you have is one runs, then one stops, then one runs and one stops. So that's another way that you could actually do this. I agree. You could, instead of having multiple pages, multiple images, and having one turn on and off, you could do the same thing where you can have one thread spawn, one shows this, then it stops, then another one shows, another thread shows this and stop, another one shows this and stop. So you can do it. I agree that definitely there are many ways that you can do it. And then I also see a question from Leslie. What are prerequisites for this class, assuming Java and XML? So those are good questions. So what you see is that I put right here for our class INT 2050 right here, mobile application development. So what you usually prefer is that we hope that you have at least basic programming foundation in terms of one of the things you see is Java. So you have this INT 2200, our Java class, or our 1850. This is definitely just like maybe like our web development class. So either both of them, I have one or both of them, that would be sufficient for you. Of course, for a non-credit, we do allow them to come in also for a non-credit to also come in, as long as they have at least some basic knowledge of computer and programming, they are also allowed to come in. So as I say, this class is really an introduction. So we take you from the starting. So remember, take from starting and help you all the way to the top. So we do just recommend at least some programming in there, language, and then you're really pretty good to go. So those are really good questions. So those are really good questions in there. And so as you can see, one of the things, so again, just walking you through our app again, one other thing I just wanted to show you again was I'm just going to go right here. Is again, just showing you again our images. The images are various images, look at them, they're just right here. And we store them right here we have this folder, subfolder, and that's where our images are. So each of those images that you see right there on the screen, they're all there, all those various images that you see on the various parts. So you can see the background. They're just all right here, the various images that you see throughout the app. So they're just all right here. So they're all stored right here, and we basically reference them. So you can see right there. And then the sound, there's also a sound when you click on the character. So you can also store it also right here, have a folder here, and here's the sound right there. So again, it's just an MP3. So let's say you wanted to take this app and change it, you want a different sound, just download the sound from the internet, Google, download maybe an MP3 file or whatever version of the sound, and just drag it from your browser, from your computer when you have downloaded it, and just drag it into this screen. Just a drag or a copy. You can just copy and paste it in there by click and just paste it in there. And you can paste it and you can put that sound in there with your name. Or you can put the image, anytime you want a new image, you can just drag and drop it and just paste it in here. And then you can just reference it. So you can see throughout our app, you see reference to the name of it. So here's the name of it right here. So you can see right here the name of of that file. And you can see that name matches the name right here. Look at it right there. They have the crash.png. They have the name. So that's the name just referenced there. So it's, again, you can see drawable is the name of the folder. That's the folder name. Then we say slash, then the name of the file and crash. So that's how we actually reference it. So it's pretty easy once you have been introduced to it. And we take you through all of this in this class, all the way from the simple all the way to as complex as you want, so that at the end of this class, you'll be able to gain that knowledge, to be confident enough to create as many apps as you want. And just to show you how easy it is, it's not supposed to be complicated. I try to make it as easy as possible to kind of walk you through what the various parts of that app is, and just giving you that view of how easy it is to create an app. So it's really exciting. There are so many more apps to be created. Every day, I'm always seeing more apps. And just think about it, everyone, we're always hearing every day now about artificial intelligence, chat GPT. I'm thinking of many more apps that you can create. Just imagine trying to embed artificial intelligence into an app on your phone, and just think of all the ideas that you can come up with. There's so many ideas still out there, and so many of them that you can create. So I'm really excited. I'm hoping that after this session today, that I've really given you the inspiration to see yourself as a game developer or an app developer, or whatever you want to create, whether it's a marketing app, whether it's a student app, no matter what app, just to let you know that you can do it, that it is not as difficult as most people might let you know, that you can just for today, I'm just showing you, all you just have to do is download the Android Studio, and you can already be on your way in an hour to actually creating your first app. So it's really exciting, and I really hope that I've been able to just give you the encouragement to move forward with creating apps. So let me just check. Any more questions?
Right. Does anybody else have any other questions? Everybody's quiet. Everybody's gonna either take this class or go home and start playing and see if they can develop some type of app. He can put, I'll put his contact information also in the chat box. So in case anybody wants to get in contact, you can email him.
Yes. And then again, you can, just like Barbara mentioned, you can play with as many of these apps. They're all available on the App Store, the Play Store for CPP. All available on the App Store, Play Store. Play around with it. Let me know what you think. Put some feedback in there. Just play around with it. It's free. You don't have to pay for anything for the main piece of the app. And you can see all those other pieces also available on the Play Store also.
Joseph, can you unmute Samuel? I'm not sure if I can. Let me see if I can. Samuel, wait a minute, wait a minute. Ask to unmute. I can't.
Can I speak with you and Mr. Ogunlana after the session zone, after everyone else has left?
Yes. Yes, definitely. I would definitely be available after the session if you wanted to speak to me.
Right, Samuel, I couldn't unmute you. Are you still on?
I'm already unmuted.
Oh, that's you. Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize. I wasn't sure if that was you. I'm sorry. I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell. All right, so if we don't have any other further questions, again, I want to remind you that I put the oh, Melanie, can you unmute Melanie Walker? I'm sorry. Joseph, can you unmute Melanie Walker? Thank you.
I also want to stay around for just 1 minute afterwards.
Okay. Perfect. All right, so for everyone else, remember to go in and take that survey. It will let your instructor know that you attended the presentation. It'll also, you will get a certificate for presenting, and you will also be entered into a raffle. So if you have any other questions, everybody have a beautiful spring break. Hopefully the weather gets to be a little bit nicer, but relax, get recharged, and get ready for the second half of the semester. Oh, can you remind us how to get your app in the App Store? So you just type for the one, everyone, you just type CUSIPITY. If you type that in the App Store, that will get you that one.
Yeah, and also put it in the chat also. If you go up in the chat, you see the two links right there at the top of the chat. You see the two links there for the app also.
You did some fancy links too. I just typed the name of it in my app. I was too fancy. What was the name of the other app though?
Yeah, the other app is, so the COSIPT, this link, I put it in the chat. I'll put it again so this is the COSIPT for the App Store, and then for the Play Store, this is also it on the Play Store. And then the other app, my Just in Time, this is it on the Play Store.
JITA.
And I also put that in the link.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Well, everybody have a beautiful day. The presentation is over.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.